white diamond and carnauba wax on it. That's all that's on there, nothing else. Sanded to 400 grit. So that's what I'm doing. So I prepped it a little bit. So this is going to be the top piece. You see the grain going like this? I like to have it like that. So the hole for the spindle, it's going to go in there. So the grain is yeah, like this, sad face. And then this one, being the bottom piece, the grain is going to go the same sad face, but the hole is going to be on top. So this is your bottom piece, this is your top piece. I'm going to do the top piece first. And this will be the spindle. So the method I use to do it is I drill the 1-inch hole here, and I have these spigot jaws, I guess you call them, and it'll grab it. So that works pretty good for me. There's different ways a person could do that if you don't have the chuck like this and this method, but
I think they're called step jaws, isn't it?
yeah, these are actually, they're step jaws. You're right.
Why do you like ash stones?
Oh, it smells good. It looks good. It's my favorite. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to, seeing if this is the top, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tenon here so that I can grab it with my chuck after. That way I can work the underneath part of it. And then when I'm done with the underneath part of it, I'll put it back on the chuck this way and I'll finish the top. And then that'll be done for the top. And then I'll do the same for the bottom. And then I'll do the spindle. So you put it on, you make sure everything's tight, and you make sure it doesn't hit the press. I'll be using a bowl gouge because it's got end grain, cross grain. It's like a bowl. It's like if you're turning a bowl, platter, or something like that. Start at 0. I'll be spinning around 1200. So the antenna is going to be the size of what the chuck is made. Down there. So, roughly around 2 inches. Not overly fussy. Okay. I'm just going to rough it out a little bit now. When I turn it back, this way, I'll finish it out. So the shape you want to do is really up to you, but you know, you're putting a wig on it, so I suppose it's gotta be round. And there's many different styles and shapes. You go on YouTube and Google it, you'll find that there's all kinds of different shapes. Anybody who has never turned it's a very hardwood. I'm just going to clean up the tenon a little bit here. Got a skew. There. So now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Now, sometimes I like to, when I transfer this to another truck, I like to transfer it using, I got an adapter here that screws, the truck screws on there, and this will screw on here, and then I'll bring this up here and grab it, and that way it keeps it nice and centered. You can put it on right, you know, straight, but this is a nice way to, like, even if you're doing balls or anything like that, when you go to take the bottom out or something like that, it's a good way to do it. Like when I transfer it to a vacuum truck, it's the same thing, that's how I do it. Make sure that everything is centered properly. That tenon will be cut, it'll be cut off after. Let me take this one off. Just a different way to do something.
You're purposely not doing the bottom first, turning the tenon on the bottom?
I want to be able to grab it so I can work the bottom here. I always have this hole that I can go back and grab it. If I would have finished it,
Oh, no, I meant the second disc,
The
Pardon me?
bottom piece.
the other disc.
I will do the same. But I won't put a tenon, I'll put a mortise on it. Yeah. And it'll be part of the shape. Here. Part of the shape. So underneath, you can shape it whatever you want. There's no rules or anything like that, but the only thing that I would suggest is that you gotta keep in mind of the spindle that you're making, you want it to make it a little bit bigger than the hole. So you wanna have a shoulder on it so that it covers the hole nice. So when you do turn it, I would turn a little bit of an angle on it, like a little bit of a cove inside. So that way your crisp edge here will fit nicely. So you gotta leave this a little bit bigger than here. Or you can just leave it flat, it's whatever you want, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna profile it a little bit. reason why you might want to take some wood out from the top piece. It makes it less top heavy. It's John, one of our members here.
They're probably trying to get in.
Maybe, did somebody go check the door? Okay, so have a look at it. Still got a little bit to clean up here, but I'll get that when I turn it around again. So, we could sand this now.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What size was the diameter of the two top and bottom?
It's about,
Ooh.
Dollarama, Stanley's, no metric on it.
5 inches.
This one here is 5 3/4,
Uh,
I guess he thought I was too early.
5 1/2. The top is a little bit smaller than the bottom.
Alright.
Okay, you good?
I'm surprised at how shallow the tends are, that you're able to hold them. I don't know that my chuck would hold that
Oh,
shallow.
yeah. Well, there's different ways you can do it. You could glue, you could make the hole afterwards. You could glue a block. You know, there's all kinds of different ways to hold a piece of wood. You could, grab it over here if you got cold jaws. My first one, that one there, I used a vacuum chuck. And I thought, I can't use a vacuum chuck here, so I gotta find another way to do it. There. Just gonna sand a little bit. Don't know where the shop vac is.
No, I don't.
I think they have it on the job site.
They took it to Green Gables
Yeah.
today.
Ann's playing with it. And the Green Gables playing with it. Oh, boy. I think I'm gonna start with 80. I left a few tool marks on there. I'm not gonna sand any more than 80. There, I cleaned it up very nice. And I could do the same to transfer it back if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna bother. I just wanted to show you that's an option. Do that. See, my lathe has a button to lock the, that's what I was doing. Huh?
That was a safety demo.
Yeah, be mindful of what you're doing. That's what happens when you're not working on your own lathe. That's my excuse.
Are you scared?
Okay, that covers the safety part of it.
That's not when we have to have demo.
Yeah. I'm not overly fond of scroll trucks because of this reason here. If I could lock the spindle properly, then I could, Okay, so now we'll finish the outside and take that off. And if you made the hole, this hole too deep, and you punch through, or if you're taking too much off and you punch through, you could always put a button on the top, like make a wooden button, put it on like a different color. People think it's part of the design. That didn't happen to me. Yeah. Pretty nice shape, still a little bit just there. Yeah, good enough. The next size up on the chisel, 80 grit. Now, when I take this home, because I have a vacuum truck, I'll be able to grab it from here, sand that side, grab there. I won't have any problems at all with it. There. Okay, so that's enough sanding for this. And then I'll repeat the same thing with the bottom, except that I'll instead of making a tent, I'll be making it Morse. Or at least. Oh, wrong way. Backwards. I'm not used to it, working with Morrises. Come on, no. There you go. See, mine at home, I lock the spindle and then I can just turn the locking one.
Yeah, I know, mine's the same way.
This here, I don't know where the locking pin is. So this is the bottom, we'll make a different profile here. There you can basically do whatever you want. This is the bottom. when you're turning something like this here, don't keep, like, you can keep going, but it'll bust out on the side if you keep going when you're rounding it off. So it's better to, come back and go this way. And then you get to practice with your left hand. Actually, I'm gonna keep that all. Now I'm gonna mark my mortise. So the mortise is the hole is bigger because we're going on the outside of the jaws. So I'm gonna grab it here. It's 2.5. Now, some people will mark it with this. I'm not overly crazy about that. It can be dangerous if you're not careful with that. If your point is on the wrong one, like you grab this side, it's going to come at you. You have to be careful when you do that. So this is going to be the finished column, so it stays. Now the jaws that I have on this chuck, they're like a hawk beak on the backwards. So you want to make sure that this is straight in. Some chucks have dovetails, so you want to make it a dovetail or whatever it is that you have for jaws. So this one, same thing. You can transfer it with this, or you can put it here, or we can mount it the normal way. I could have sanded no, actually we're gonna go back. So I only went in about, I don't think I went in a 1/4 inch with the Morris, maybe 3/16. That's all you really need for this kind of wood anyways. It's pretty hard, so. And the same thing for this one. These guys, what I did is I put a little bit of a curve in it, so if they wanna put something there, like, I don't know, rings or whatever, so it won't slide off. But the same rule applies here. You wanna go a little bit bigger here than your spindle, because you wanna have a shoulder on your spindle, plus you wanna be able to hide the hole if you're not just 100% with the hole. Now when I forgot to taper this a little bit. Just going to give it a bit of a shape on the outside here. Yep. Being a little bit careless. See? It happens to the best of us. I was telling someone the other day, the difference between a novice wood turner and an expert wood turner. The expert wood turner will know what happened when he gets the catch, while the novice, maybe not. That's the only difference. So if you got a catch or something, you're an expert, you'll probably know what it is, what happened, what you did wrong. Obviously, it's operator error always, unless there's a flaw in the wood that you didn't see it, maybe you didn't know your wood. So there's something to take home. So this shape here, you can do whatever that you want to. There's no. And if you're taking too much wood off, it will let you know. So, the bowl, when you turn a bowl, the rules that you follow, guidelines that you follow on a bowl, are the same as this because of the the orientation of the grain. Yeah. Not the fanciest, but it, so when you're sanding, I started with an 80 grit. When I think I'm done sanding with my 80 grit, I will shut the blade off and inspect the whole thing. And if you see any lines that are not from the sandpaper, you will never take them off with a higher grit than this. So you have to keep sanding until your tool marks, or basically your tool mark, because that's the last thing you did on it. So, and then when you're happy with this grit, then you can move on to the other grits. And the other grits are basically just taking away the scratch marks from this grit. So the next grit from this would be 100 or 120. It will take the scratch marks of this off. And then the 180 will take the 120 grit scratches off, and so on and so on. And if you skip a grit, then you're not going to take the previous grit's scratch off. So there's a rule of thumb. Whatever grit you start off with, you divide by 2 and add to the grit. So this one here is 80. So 40 plus 80 would be 120. So you would not want to go higher than 120. The next one is 180. So 120 divided by 2 is 60. 60 plus 120, 180, and so on. So that's the rule of thumb that they use. So you learned a little bit of math too. So I would sand it more than that, and I would turn it around and I would sand the bottom and that. I'm not going to bother sanding anymore because it's too dusty. So I'm going to move on to the spindle piece. So yeah, I would turn this around again on this chuck. And now that I'm finished here, I would have it sanded all the way up to 600 grit. And then I would finish my bottom here to what I want. So I'm not going to do that. So there's the bottom. Just a normal dry spur. This is not mine. These are from One Way. They're really, really nice. So I found the centers already, and I have a little center punch, put a dimple on it. So I'm just gonna rough that out to start off with a spindle roughing gouge. Not a whole lot of tools that you need to do this. I'm gonna spin this up at a 2400 out of line. Almost there. So the holes, these holes are 1 inch. So I'll make 2 little tenets on each end, 1 inch. I always check the holes, make sure that they're, I always go a little bit bigger, then you can always take it down a little bit. So the holes are so we'll say this is the top, that's the bottom. So this is the top. The hole is a little over 1/2 inch. So we're going to go a little bit less. You don't need to have it bottoming out. And the bottom, same thing, a little over 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take it down to 1 inch here and here. So what you can do is go right to the end, and get your size there, and then you can just move the saw from there. Don't get carried away, because it's easy to take wood off. I found it a lot harder to put it back on. And when you're cutting wood on any shape, you look at the top. Once you're starting to cut, you look at the top, as opposed to look where the chisel is.
What are you using for the tool there?
This?
Yeah.
It's a parting tool. It's a little thicker than most parting tools. I'm grinding it this way because I want it to be somewhat like a badan, which is only has one angle, like on one side. That's why it's off. It's not in the center. It was when I started, but I'm grinding slowly. Every time I sharpen, I only sharpen this side because I don't want this anymore. I want it to be like this. And because it's thick like that, you can buy chisels that are like that, and they call them badan. B-E-E-A-N. So I'm going to take a little bit off here. This one here, you can take this chisel, this parting tool here, and go in just a little bit. Now it'll have the same effect as this. It'll give it a nice tight finish, fit. And something that I always do, I always start on this end when I'm turning
Because this is your drive end. You always start on the right-hand side. Because as you're taking this small, then you might have chances that it's gonna vibrate if you get it going small here, like you're finished. So you wanna work this end first. It's a good time to shut it off and see if it'll fit. Because you can always take a little bit off. If it doesn't. So I gotta take a little bit more off on that one. And quite a bit on it. And then another thing that I like doing is I put a release cut right here. So that if it gets air, what do you call it? Like if you put too much glue in it and it gets locked, whatever you call that, I forget what the exact word it is. Hydraulic lock. That way there it's got a place for the glue to go. Whoop. Design, change, modification. That goes there. I'm going to have to cut it. I had to take a little bit off here, so it's a little too long. But I will do that at home. So this will be a pretty nice fit. I'm sure I can take it down here. I'll shape this and then I'll take it down. And here you can make the shape you want. Make it fancy, you might win a first place. Who knows? It's open to everybody. If you're not very creative, just leave it like a dowel. Call it the modern look. Yeah. It's pretty nice there. Make sure, oh, I'm not quite round there. You always move your tool rest out of the way when you're sanding. You don't want to get caught up in between the tool rest and the piece. Put your finger in between. Even though you got 10 fingers, you really don't have any spares. I could have went with 120 on this one. I don't know why I went to 180. Nervous, I guess. See why I like ash? No, nice looking wood. There. Ah. Okay. That was an added step. You want